warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning everyone.
Good morning.
Greetings to all of us. I always thank Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and thank you for giving me the opportunity improving the students' reading skill through translation method. That I respect Ma'am Elok Widiati, SPD, MBD as a lecturer in speaking for proposal seminars. First of all, introducing, my name is Maja Verona. As the first speaker, Anissa Uswatun as the second speaker, and Eka Darmanan Pratiwi as the third speaker. Furthermore, Anissa Uswatun, I'm asking you to present material about improving the students' reading skill through translation method. Time is yours. Authors info. Hijril Ismail, Universitas Muhammadiyah Mataram. Juang Kurniawan, Syahruza, Universitas PGRI Yogyakarta. Basuki, Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo. Table of contents. Number 1, introduction. You can describe the topic of the section here. Number 2, review. You can describe the topic of the section here. Number 3, method. You can describe the topic of the section here. Number 4, conclusion. You can describe the topic of the section here.
Okay, next, number 1, introduction. Introduction. English is one of the international languages, becomes the major language of printed information. It can be in technology, economics, commerce, and science. The most important one, which is vital in processing information, is reading. By having the reading skills to comprehend passage, textbooks, and reference written in English, the students are able to absorb information and knowledge. Next is concepts. Language skills are categorized as receptive skills and productive skills. First, speaking. Speaking is the productive skills. Next, writing. Writing is the productive skills. Number 3, reading. Well, reading is the receptive skills. And the last is listening. Also include receptive skills. It is stated by McClatchy and Jeffries that reading is very important since it can enhance students' general language skills in English, assisting students to think in English, enlarging students' English vocabulary, improving the writing, and it can be a good way to obtain about new ideas, facts, and experiences. According to Hermer, reading is one of the receptive skills of English. Next is literature review. 1. Reading skills. 2. The goals of reading. 3. The principles for teaching reading. And the last is translation method. Reading skills. Richards and Smith assert that listening, speaking, reading, and writing are generally called language skills. Richards and Smith also define reading as abilities required for skillful reading, such as discerning main ideas, understanding sequence, noticing specific details, making inference, making comparisons, and making predictions in second and foreign language instruction, particularly with doubt. Petal and Chen state that reading is understanding the meaning of printed words. I in written symbols. And then Gray and in Petal and Chen classifies that reading is form of experience. Reading brings us in contact with the minds of Greek authors with the written account of their experiences. Next is the goals of reading. Reading is an ability which is extremely important for students for enhance their insight in particularly in English language. Reverse and temporally. 1978 in Nunnan, 1999 addressed the main purpose of reading. 1. To obtain information for some purposes or because we are serious about some topic. 2. To obtain instructions on how to perform some tasks for our work or daily life. 3. To act in a play a game, and do a puzzle. 4. To keep in touch with friends by correspondence or to understand business letters. 5. To know when or where something will take place or what is available. And 6. To know what is happening or has happened as reported in newspaper, magazines, and report. Next is the principles for teaching reading. Number 1. Reading is not a passive skill. Number 2. Students need to be engaged with what they are reading. Number 3. Students should be encouraged to respond to the content of reading text, not just the language. Number 5. Prediction is a major factor in reading. Number 4. Prediction is a major factor in reading. Number 5. Match the task to the topic. And last is good teachers exploit reading text to the full. Next is translation method. Translation method is the process of rendering written language that was produced in one language or the source language into another, the target language, or the target language version that results from this process. Translation in which more emphasis is given to overall meaning than to exact wording is known as free translation. A translation that approximates to word-for-word representation of the original is known as a literal translation. A translation that has been produced by a computer is known as a machine translation. Next. Methodology. The research was the classroom action research as MTS Al-Alamin Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. The subject of the research was the students of grade 7G, which number of 39 students as the participant because they have less skill in reading. It can be known from the result of pre-reading comprehension tests which undertaken by researcher with the lowest score was 35 and the main score was 55.46 and also based on the result interview of an English teacher. This is the research instrument utilized by the writer are first, form of the observation checklist. Second is task. The third is question, and then result. You can see this is the result. conclusion is based on the data analysis and discussion. The writer can make conclusion that there is an improvement students score in reading skills. This is the resources.
Okay, finally, the end of the presentation. Okay, thank you for Noja for the opening presentation and Anissa for explaining the article about improving the student reading skill through translation method. Okay, before I close the group, we would like to give you time to ask questions. You can start by raise your hand, say your name and question.
I'm Risnodiva Mustika Fitri. I want to ask about from the result list in the article, how did the author get the research result? Thank you.
Next.
I'm Intan Pujana and I want to ask you from the announcement in the article, what did the teacher do in that school? Can you explain more? Thank you.
Okay. The last question.
Okay, I'm Sindiwardana Ima. From the article, what are the principles of teaching reading? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Number one is from the result is in the article, how did the author get the research results? The research data was collected plus observation were made by other research to collect data on student activities directly. Second, tests were conducted at the end of the whether or not the improvisation is each cycle. And third, were used to get student response about the produce applied during the teaching and learning process. Number two, from the assessment in the article, what did teacher do in that school? Can you explain more? From the research, the teacher at Muallim Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta gave multiple choice question to the students. Number three, from the article, what are the principles of teaching reading? The principle of teaching reading is that one must understand what the words and picture means. Okay, I think that's enough presentation from our group. Please apologize if there are many shortcomings. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi